Okay, thank you.
You may please start, sir.
Can you see the screen, PPT?
Yes, sir. You are visible. Even the presentation is visible.
Okay, thank you. Dear students, good evening, all of you. Students from different centers of IITM, Gwalior, Noida, Bhubaneswar, Nellore, and Goa students. So as Ranu madam told, this is the last class for this audition program, which has been scheduled for this entire week. So as part of this orientation program, I'm supposed to take a class. So I have chosen the topic, the rise of millennial travel. So I have listened to few lectures of previous days. So in that lectures, I have seen that you are being familiarized or acquainted with the different concepts of tourism, and hope that you are from different backgrounds, from commerce background, humanities background, science background. So you have got an idea of what tourism is, and what are the different types of tourism, then how tourism has been incorporated as a separate discipline. And even I listened to the by Sudhina Babu, the nodal officer of NIWS Goa. Even sir also talked elaborately about the relevance of tourism as a discipline, and he connected tourism with other disciplines like economics, business studies, commerce, history, geography, right? So you have gone through the different aspects, concepts, whatever it may be. So now I have chosen a topic called the rise of millennial travel. So those who are from management background, they know in marketing there is a part called market segmentation. That means we are segmenting the market on the basis of various aspects, like on the basis of geography. For example, we have tourists from different continents, different countries, different regions. So we are segregating or segmenting the market on the basis of geography. So we can even, so there are various criteria for segmenting a market like any other product. Tourism is also a product you might have learned from other teachers during the last classes. So tourism is also a product like other products. Tourism can also be segmented. So this is a millennial travel is a kind of segmentation. One second. Sorry, some problem was there with the laptop. So this millennial travel is a kind of segmentation where we are segmenting it on the basis of their demography, or we can say that age of the tourist. So millennial tourist means we are classifying the tourist on the basis of their age. Like you can see here in this slide, uh, four categories of generations, like baby boomers. They born in between 1946 and 1964, and generation X, they born between 1965 and 1980, and millennials, they born between 1981 and 1995, and generation Z, they born between 1996 and 2010. So millennials is a group of people who born between 1981 and 1995. They have been identified with different characteristics. Even this Z generation is also considered as a part of millennials. We can say that they belong to millennial. millennials who born between 1981 and 1995, they belong to millennial section, generation Y. So generation Y and generation Z. So we can classify them into generation Y and generation Z. So this is the slight difference between generation Y and generation Z.
Sir, there is some voice problem in your side, sir.
Voice problem is there.
You are not audible, sir.
I'm not audible.
Now you are audible, sir. Thank you. Please continue, sir.
Okay, fine. So there is a slight difference between generation Y and generation Z. So people who belong to generation Y are called digital immigrants, and people who are from generation Z, they are called natives. So what is that difference between these two categories of people? Generation Y and generation Y people are called digital immigrants because they can learn technology. People who belong to this category, digital immigrants, they can learn technology, but they have to work on it. But in the case of digital natives, like you belong to digital natives category, I think so. So for you people, the use of technology automatically or naturally comes to you. You don't want to learn it, or you don't want to acquire it. It automatically comes to you. So that is the speciality of digital natives. That is called generation Y people. Am I audible now? So from this cartoon, you can make out the generation gap between generation Y and generation Z. So a father is asking the kid, how was school today? So she is answering, you can read about it on my blog chat. So they have improved that much. They are very tech savvy people. So they are well much acquainted with the technology nowadays. So that's the basic difference between digital and digital natives. So among the digital native group also, digital native doesn't mean that tech savvy people. It's a separate category. Tech savvy is a separate category. And among all the, even it is in generation Y or generation Z, that tech savvy people are there. In both category, tech savvy people are there. Basically, digital natives of generation category people can be divided into three: avoiders, minimalist, and enthusiastic participants. So, avoiders means these category of people they don't use technology very often. So they are very hesitant to use technology. So they will try to avoid technology in all possible cases. And in case of minimalist, they never escape from technology. Whenever it is required, they use it. Otherwise, they will not use it.
Dear students, we'll just resume back. We are like maybe because of some network issue, Dr. Prashant is unable to deliver his lecture. We'll revert you back within 2 minutes, please. Kindly wait.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Some network issue happened here. Sorry for that. So we will continue with. So as I have told you, the digital natives can be classified into three: avoiders, minimalist, and enthusiastic participants. So avoiders, they used to avoid technology in all possible circumstances, whereas minimalist, they use technology wherever it is required, and whenever it is possible, they used to avoid it. And
So,
enthusiastic participants,
sir, sorry
yes,
for interrupting, but your screen is not visible, sir, actually.
screen is not visible.
Means to say, sir, your screen share is not on.
Yes, 1 second. Let me clarify it.
Okay, sir.
Now is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible now. Please continue the class, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I told enthusiastic participants, they belong to the tech savvy category. So they are very eager to use the upcoming technology, whether it is laptop or computer or new mobile phones applications and so on. And when we talk about the millennial category of people, they are born and brought up in such a way, their pedagogy is quite different from the previous generation. In schools, they used to learn in a different setup. They make use of technologies like PowerPoint presentation, then inspiration. They get all opportunity to acquaint with the technology. They mostly depend on digital mode of education. So they are born and brought up in such a way. So when these people they go for job, or their professional characteristics are also very much differ from the other generation people. Like as I have already told you, they are very tech savvy people. Like they are 24 into 7 hours, they are plugged in technology, and they cannot imagine a world without a mobile phone and internet connection. At the same time, these people are also very family centric. That means when they go for a job, they always prefer for flexible schedules, then better working atmosphere. Then they also prefer their a kind of balance between work and life. And this category of people, you might have even heard about digital nomads, then telecommuting. All these terms are associated with this millennial population, because telecommuting means nowadays we are experiencing during this pandemic time also. We prefer to work at home. So people who work at home, they are called telecommuters. They are not physically going to the office. Rather, they sit at home and do their work. So that category of people are called telecommuters. And mostly this millennial population, they prefer telecommuting than other generations. And most of the digital nomads are also from this category. Digital nomads means they won't prefer to go to office. Rather, they travel from one place to another. They travel around the world. They travel different places. They want to experience the world. They want to experience the culture. At the same time, they want to earn for their livelihood also. So they work for some company while traveling in different countries. So they are called digital nomads. So all these people belong to this millennial population category with a different specific set of professional requirements and characteristics. And these people are always achievement oriented. That means they are very confident, very ambitious, and they always prefer to accept challenges at the workplace. And the previous generation, when the previous generation people, they when they like to obey to the commands of the superior officers, these millennial population, even they try to question the authority. Whenever they require to question the authority, they even don't hesitate to question the boss. So that is the attitude of millennial population. And again, this category of people, they go for feedback seeking. That means they always would like to know from their boss about their professional performances. They go for constant feedbacking from the higher authority. And they are job hoppers. That means if you look into the profile or curriculum vitae of millennial population, they have a peppered job history because they switch from one job to another. Whenever they are not finding it convenient with a particular job, they will go for another job. So their curriculum vitae is peppered with a lot of companies, lot of positions and all. They prefer to work in different places. They prefer to switch over from one job to another. So at the same time, these people are having, they are very team oriented also. They always prefer to work in a team. That means their policy is that no person left behind. They have an attitude of take together with them all category of people. So they adjust with everyone. Such kind of adjustment skill they have while working in a group. So these are the common traits of or professional qualities of millennial population. So when we talk about millennial, so people who belong to this particular category, when they travel, they are called millennial tourists. So the millennial tourists are also identified with 4 different qualities like authenticity, because these millennial tourists, they prefer more authenticity. That means they are able to differentiate between what is real and what is fake. And they want to explore and they want to experience also, because when they visit a particular destination, rather than possessing material requirements, they go for gaining experiences. So when we speak about other generation people, whether it is baby boomers or any other generation of people, they always prefer for materialistic values, but this millennial people always prefer experiences rather than materials. And the touristic, I mean the preferences, the travel preferences of these people are also quite different from other people, because they always go for personalization. That means unlike other category of people, they always prefer for package tours, but this millennial population, they always prefer for personalization. They will tell the requirement the tour operator, and the tour operator, they frame a package which suits to the preferences of the millennial tourist. And another category of such tourists are, they are engaged online 24/7, that I have already told you. They are into social medias very often, like Facebook, Instagram, and they even use social media for their touristic purposes also. Whenever they travel, they used to be in touch with people, and they used to follow other people who travel the same destination. So their opinions and decisions are largely based on the outcome of online platforms. And when we are talking about sustainable tourism, these millennial population are more inclined to sustainable values than any other generation, because they inculcate the principles of sustainable tourism when they travel. The millennial population are more inclined to sustainable tourism practices when they travel from one place to another. So while we are talking about the negative impacts of tourism, you already know a lot of carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas emissions, then the use of single-use plastics. And these pictures, you can identify this is mass tourism. When people travel in huge quantity, it also creates some kind of negative impacts to the destination. And this waste production is another negative impact of tourism. So there are a lot of negative impacts when people travel from one place to another. That doesn't mean that we have to stop traveling. We have to travel because the travel industry should sustain, because travel industry is providing livelihood to a lot of people. So it doesn't mean that because of a lot of negative impacts we should not travel. Yes, we should travel, but we have to travel in a peculiar way. So conscious thinking plus smarter travel choices. That means conscious thinking means each person should be aware of the impact he is creating on the environment, society, and culture while he travels. He should be conscious. And moreover, when he travel, he should prefer smarter travel choices. That means in the form of right kind of accommodation, right kind of transportation. So this conscious thinking, when this conscious thinking is blended with smarter travel choices, it gives way to sustainable tourism. So sustainable tourism, you might have heard the definition of sustainable tourism. It's a kind of tourism in which people are traveling with minimum negative impacts to the environment, society, and culture, and they are also saving the resources for the future generation also. So these resources, whether it is natural resources or cultural resources, these resources are meant for the future generation also. So we should not spoil it. We should not over exploit it. Of course, you can use it, but when we use those resources, keep in mind that these resources are meant for the future generation also. So we have to use it in a minimal way so that we can save it for the future generation also. So we have to preserve natural and cultural heritage. And of course, we have to empower the local community. Suppose you are going to a ecotourism destination, or a destination which is nature oriented, and you are staying in a 5-star hotel. So that is not sustainable tourism practice. So in order to make it sustainable travel, you have to live in an accommodation unit which is managed by the local population, local community, so that you are contributing to the local community. So your income is flowing to the local community rather than to the outsiders. So you can ensure that you are travel in a sustainable manner. Then you have to tackle environmental issues. You should not pollute the place where you are visiting. Then you should not contribute to the climatic change. And moreover, you should contribute to foster peace and international understanding or intercultural understanding while you travel between one place to another. So if you follow all these guidelines, you can ensure that you are traveling in a sustainable manner. Why I am telling this sustainable concept? Because there is a popular notion that this millennial population or millennial tourist or people who belong to Y generation and Z generation, they are in a way following the sustainable tourism practices, or they inculcate sustainable tourism practices while they travel. So when we take statistics, we can say that around 1.8 millennials are there all around the world. That means around 180 crores of millennial population we can see all around the world. And out of this huge amount, around 3 million people are frequent travelers. That means around 30 crores millennials are frequently traveling. So what I am going to express is that we have a huge segment from this particular category of people. So we have to cater to a large number of people who belong to this particular category of millennial population. So while you go for a job also in tourism sector, the maximum number of people where you are going to cater is from this particular group of tourists. Then, if you closely observe the travel characteristics of millennial population, we have to learn a lot of things from this people. So even we can also inculcate these values in our personal life when we travel. So we have a lot of lessons to be learned from the millennial population. So we have to master the art of slow travel. That means in order to travel sustainably, we have to travel slow. That means even if you are traveling very faster also, you are never going to be able to see and do everything in this world. So why you are in a hurry? So you should travel very slowly. That means if you travel very slowly, you can minimize your carbon footprints. Carbon footprint means the negative impacts you are leaving in a destination is called carbon footprint. So when you travel very slow, you go to a particular destination, take your own time, you spend time there, you see the attractions there, you mingle with the local population, you spend a lot of time there. So in that case, your carbon footprints are very less because you are not traveling very frequently. If you travel from one place to another very frequently, that means you are spreading your carbon footprints everywhere. So that is not a sustainable way of traveling. But most of the millennial population, they master the art of this slow travel. They always encourage slow travel. And they, some of them even engage in volunteer tourism also. Volunteer tourism is a kind of tourism. You go to a particular destination, mingle with the local population, help the local population. If you get any opportunity, you can educate the local population. You can even financially help the local population, some kind of charity work. So that is called volunteer tourism. And next thing is ethical shopping. So whenever you travel, you like to bring something from a particular place as a memory of your travel. Mostly you bring souvenirs. When you go to a particular place, some kind of souvenirs are available there. So when you purchase souvenirs, you have to avoid those souvenirs which make use of endangered wild species, like the products which made out of the skin of the animals, then the products which made out of coral reefs. All these products, these products are being made out of animals. So we are exploiting the animals for the sake of tourism. So such kind of purchases or encouraging such items should be avoided. And you have to always prefer environmentally friendly materials while you travel. Then if you get an opportunity to purchase something from a local craft shop, you have to go for it, so that you are encouraging the local population and get things that are useful and long lasting. So this millennial tourists, they have a tendency to buy things which are useful and long lasting. They never buy unnecessary things. So I already told you, they are not in a position to acquire material things. So they always go for experiences. So as far as possible, they avoid unuseful things and they always prefer useful things and long lasting shopping materials. And obviously, as a part of this sustainable values, you have to say no to plastic. And there are certain ways we can minimize the use of plastic, like instead of buying water bottles, you can bring your own water bottle, and wherever it is possible, you can fill it up. And if you are very concerned about the cleanliness, you can even avail this bottles fitted with filters. Then water purification tablets are available now. You can go for it so that you can ensure the quality of the water, and you can fill the bottle wherever it is possible. And while you are staying in a hotel, try to avoid the products given by the hotel in small packets like shampoos, soaps. You can bring your own personal care products, so that in that way also you can help reducing the environmental negative impacts. And whenever you go for shopping, do not accept any plastic bags from the vendors. Instead, you have to bring your own bags, or if you go for purchasing bags, you can go for environmental friendly bags like cloth bags are there, paper bags are there. So that options you can go for. And as far as possible, avoid the use of straws, plastic packing materials, etc. And in the case of transport also, you have to use sustainable means of transport, like bicycles can be used, and wherever it is possible, electrically charged vehicles are there that can be used. And of course, you have to use public transportation, because if you travel in a single car, then you are contributing much to the environmental pollution. So instead of personal vehicles, you can use public transportation, which is being shared by other people. And about the connection flight, suppose you are traveling to Goa from Delhi via a connection flight, Delhi to Hyderabad and Hyderabad to Goa. So you are leaving your footprints in two places, in Hyderabad and Goa. So in case of a connection flight, that is there, that problem is there. But when you have a direct flight, your carbon footprints are very less in compared to a connection flight. And you can even go for a carpooling also. Whenever you are getting an opportunity to travel in a cab, there are options for carpooling. Even in India also, Uber, Ola and all, they used to have this carpooling facility. That means you can travel with another travel partner. Even Uber and Ola, they have this service now, carpooling service. So that can also be avoided, which is very useful to minimize the environmental impacts. As a part of sustainable tourism practice, you can always encourage ecotourism, then proper tourism. In the picture, you can see that a foreigner is teaching some local people. So this is a part of proper tourism. So you are contributing to the elevation of poverty in a particular destination. So that is called proper tourism. Those tourism activities which are done as a part of poverty alleviation in a particular destination is called proper tourism. So it is also a part of proper tourism, and ecotourism are also a part of sustainable tourism, because we are not harming anything here, rather we are contributing to the environment and society. So while you choose a destination, you have to be very thoughtful. Boycott those places which are following unethical practices or harmful practices. Like in the picture, you can see that elephant ride. So this kind of activities should be avoided as far as possible, because these make use of, or these exploit, these kind of activities always exploit the animals. So this is not ethical and this is not sustainable also. So as far as possible, you have to avoid this kind of activities while you travel, and avoid places that are highly commercial or step on the livelihood of the local communities, because commercialization is a negative side of tourism. For the sake of tourism, we used to commercialize or commodify our culture, heritage and everything. So that also you should not contribute to that. Whenever you find any sort of commercialization or commodification, you please refrain from them as a part of sustainable tourism practice. So there is a popular question: why should I pick up the waste of somebody else? So that is a part of your ego. So I should say that when it comes for the love for nature, your ego should not be above the love for nature. So in the picture also you can see this is called plogging. When you go for jogging, you can pick up the waste on the way, so that two purposes at the same time. You are doing exercise, you are regenerating your body, as well as you are cleaning the destination. So this plogging concept is also a part of sustainable tourism activity. Then your eating habits in the destination. Try your best to eat locally grown and sourced food, because you are going to a different place. So why should you take food which is imported from outside? You can eat local food there because you are going to a local place. So why should you take uh, food from outside? So you take local food, and eating less meat would really help the planet. So I'm not telling that you avoid meat. You can take, but at least if you are minimizing the quantity of meat you are taking, at least you are eating vegetarian food at least 1 or 2 days in a week. Even then also you are contributing to the environmental conservation. And this concept of vegan, that is very popular among millennial tourists. Vegan means they don't eat any food items, non-veg food items, or any food items which are directly linked to animals. Like milk is also vegan. It is against vegan concept because we are exploiting the cow. Then honey also, we are exploiting honey bee. So all these food which are related to animals, they are being avoided by few millennial people. So that concept of vegan is very popular among millennial population. And whenever you are going to buy snacks, sodas, or beverages, you have to think twice, because they are being packed in plastic wrappers, so that you are polluting the environment. Instead of canned beverages, you can go for fruit juices. So that is, buying fruit juices is also a sustainable practice. Of course, be a good example. Instead of the spreading this policies or concepts, you can set yourself as an example. When people see you are doing the right thing, they will also try to follow you. Why don't you pick up the garbage from the street? So people will also follow you. People who are noticing you, or people who are looking at you, they will also try to imitate you. So set yourself as a good example with respect to sustainable tourism activities. Then all these slides you have seen the way millennial tourists are traveling. So what I try to convey is that if you closely observe the travel features of millennial tourists, they have some kind of inclination towards sustainable travel. They always prefer a sustainable way of traveling. So whenever we are catering, or whenever we are servicing the millennial population, so we have to adopt a different kind of marketing technique, unlike catering to other category of tourists. So the popular marketing technologies like publicity, advertisement, they are all outdated in case of millennial population. So millennial population, they are no longer interested in the traditional advertising methods. So while planning a kind of advertisement for millennial population, you have to keep in mind the advertisement characteristics of the millennials also. When we compare the Z generation people and Y generation people, the case of Y generation people, still they are using Facebook, but in case of Z generation people, live on TikTok. TikTok is already banned, but instead of TikTok, we can say that Instagram. So when Y generation people still use Facebook, Z generation people, they use Instagram. So their marketing, when we market Z generation people, we have to concentrate on that kind of marketing, which is making use of Instagram. Then Z generation people, they go for quick bite videos, rather the millennial people, they go for longer videos. So this kind of this characteristic should also be taken into consideration while planning. When you work in a tourism organization, or when you work for a tourism company, you may have to chalk out a marketing plan for these people. So when you chalk out such marketing plans, you have to consider these characteristics of both this category of people, Z generation and Y generation people. And Instagrammability. So around 40.1% of millennials are even using Instagram to decide their next vacation based on the Instagrammability alone. So whenever they are choosing a particular travel destination, they are just finding out the scope of using Instagram, or the scope of Instagramming their travel. So around 40% of people, millennials, they are just traveling for the sake of taking pictures and posting in Instagram. So when you chalk out a marketing plan for such travelers, you have to concentrate more on advertisement which make use of Instagrams and hashtags. So you can even make a hashtag for your organization. Just like in IITTM, we have hashtags like IITTM Bhubaneswar, IITTM Gwalior. Whenever we are posting pictures of functions in our college, we used to make use of this hashtag also. And you can encourage your guests to take pictures and post in Instagram, and use your hashtag, the hashtag of your company, so that it will reach to the right customers. Second is millennials always go for unique and one of a kind of products. So around, in a recent survey, around 65% of the millennials, they said that they travel in order to make their friends and followers jealous. They want to show their friends and followers that they are traveling a lot. So in that way also, when you plan your marketing plan, create or promote unique experiences, those experiences which are not available in other places. You have to concentrate on those things, because that attractions, there is, in case of that attraction, there is ample scope for Instagramming. And immersive experience. So rather, unlike other category of people, the millennials, they go for immersive experiences. They want to delve deep into their experience. So they always go for those attractions which are valuable in case of culture, educational value, service based, and they like to bucket list those attractions or those destinations in their travel list. So you have to promote local experiences unique to your brand destination, and if possible, you can even tie up with local vendors or local venues while packaging your tour program, in order to attract this category of people. I mean, this millennial tourist. And finally, as I already told you, these people always go for personalized tourism products. So in your advertisement also, you have to you have to update your online websites. You have to update your Facebook page, because your products are being displayed in your social medias in order to attract these people. So even if they are not going for any tailor-made itineraries, you can even display a few suggestions, few itineraries to attract this category of people through your social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all. So this is all about the millennial travel generation people. How they travel and how they inculcate the values of sustainable tourism while they travel. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Himanshu. Himanshu, can you please open the chat for students? If you can open the chat box for students, please.
Done, ma'am.
Done. Students, you may please write your questions. Prashant sir, we'll have some questions in the chat box. Students will start writing now.
Okay, okay. 1 second.
Answer as per your convenience. Sir's name is, sir, your name, please.
My name is Prashant Uday Kumar from IITM Goa. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. There are other questions also. Like what are Anushka Nigam is asking, what are the career options in tourism other than tourist guide and teaching?
You can a wide range of career options are there. You can work in tour operation sector. You can work in travel agency. You can go for a job in this event management. Even you have option in cruising. Lot of career options are there.
So one question by Mohit Upadhyay, what is the scope of sustainable tourism?
Yeah, I already told you nowadays, because tourism is a kind of industry that is that strives upon our natural and cultural resources. So if there is no natural and cultural resources, there is no tourism also. So we have to preserve it. So sustainable tourism is a kind of tourism in which we are conserving our nature, or we are conserving our resources, and we are saving it for the future generation. So of course, without sustainable tourism, there is no future for tourism.
So there is one question by Ghansham Kavar. He's asking, traveling through animals is not sustainable. How?
Of course, because it is not sustainable, we are exploiting the animal. It is not sustainable, we are harming the animal.
Yes, sir. Any more questions, students? So it seems we do not have any more questions. So there is one question. What is the difference between tourism and travel?
That is from the term itself, it is quite clear. Travel means it can be any sort of travel. If you are traveling from one place to another for any purpose, it is called travel. Tourism means it is for leisure purpose.
So few questions like if you can
What
talk
are
about NIWS or job opportunities in sustainable tourism.
So can you tell more about NIWS Goa? Yeah, we our nodal officer already briefed about it in the induction class, in the initial class. This IITM center is dedicated for water sports activities. So this is a part. This is also a part of IITM, but this center is dedicated for water tourism activities. We are giving training to lifeguards. We are giving training to boat operators, um, life rescue operators. So such kind of training are also being imparted in NIWS Goa, apart from MBA and tourism courses.
So any one question if you want to answer, rest it is good enough, sir. We need to pay extra for the water sports training or it is included?
We need to pay extra for the water sports training, or it's included. Of course, we are conducting diploma and certificate programs. If you want to get a certificate, you have to pay for it. But we have facilities here. If you want to make use of the facilities, you can make use of it without paying any money. We have instructors also. They will also help you to train yourself. But if you want to do a course, if you want to get a certificate, you have to pay for it.
Good enough, sir. We are done with 5 questions and with the time too. We may end the session, please, if you allow, sir.
Sorry?
Can we end the session if you allow? We are done with 5 questions.
Yeah, of course. Too many questions are coming, so we will take another opportunity to interact more. Now, as the time we have exceeded, we may wind it up. Thank you, Ranu ma'am and students, for being with me.
Thank you so much to you, sir, for a very interesting session. Dear students, this marks the end of familiarization sessions. Now, what is next? Tomorrow, as you people are already informed, you have your document verification, which you are supposed to upload. Regarding any document related query, you may please inquire it from Dr. Barwa or Mr. Anurag Asthana. They are available on your WhatsApp also, and in any ways you must be in contact with them from good number of time. So please contact these people for document verifications. For rest of the courses that we are running, as told, Thai course is already running. If you want, you can register for the same. For German, we are starting it within the next 15 days. For German language, you can contact me through WhatsApp and not through calls particularly, because it gets difficult to answer calls. Thank you so much, students. You have good number of questions lined up, but we do not have time and all to answer. My WhatsApp number is available on your MBA or BBA group. Thank you, dear all. From 30th, you people will have your regular classes. So for 30th, I'll be sharing the timetable. From 30th onwards, I'll be sharing the timetable tomorrow. Thank you so much, students. Thank you all.